In a land far, far away, there was a monster living in the middle of the desert. Moreover, he was only fed with fresh soil, newly greened plants and seeds. A little far from the desert, there was a kingdom he had not yet discovered and had not gone and eaten its soil. The king and the queen of this kingdom did not have children, and they were very sad because of this. When the queen couldn't sleep one night, she sneaked out of the palace. She wandered around the desert. Although the desert monster noticed her, he did not go near her and did not harm her, because all he wanted was to eat all the plants and fresh soil in the world. At that moment, a star fell in the sky and left a green trail behind it. Seeing the falling star, the queen immediately made a wish. "Oh, I wish I had a daughter so I could hug her and raise her with love." At that moment, a star fairy appeared in front of the queen. "Oh, you are a fairy! I cannot believe my eyes!" "Yes, dear queen, I heard your wish and came to your presence. If you want to have a child, wander through this desert for 7 days and nights. The magic of the stars will surprise you." The queen did indeed wander through the desert for 7 days and nights, listening to the words of the star fairy. The king, on the other hand, thought that the queen, who had not returned to the palace for days, was lost, and he was devastated. At the end of her 7th day in the desert, just as she was in despair, the queen heard a cry. The queen moved toward the direction the voice came from. She saw a tiny baby crying on the sand. She immediately took her in her arms and returned to the palace. The king was very happy when he saw the queen safe and sound days later, and the cute baby she was carrying in her arms increased his happiness even more. They named that little baby the Earth Princess. Years passed. The Earth Princess grew up and became a very beautiful girl. Her favorite thing since she was a baby was playing with sand. If she drew a butterfly in the sand, the butterflies turned into reality and flew around her. Or if she drew a flower, it turned into a real flower and smelled amazing. The only person who realized that the Earth Princess had a magical power was her father, the king. But he didn't tell anyone about her power so that no harm would come to her. One day, when the people were planting new crops, the nose of the desert monster caught a sharp smell. He soon realized it was the smell of fresh soil. When he thought of the delicious saplings and seeds he would eat, he could not resist and quickly started to move towards the direction of the smell. Meanwhile, the people in the kingdom noticed that the ground was starting to shake. "Oh! What's going on? Is this an earthquake?"
This is something else!
Noticing the ground shaking, the king and the queen also rushed out of the palace balcony and saw the desert monster far away under the ground moving towards the kingdom.
Oh no! I thought he was a myth!
This is very bad. The myth is becoming true. The king immediately ordered his soldiers to stop the desert monster. The soldiers took cover at the gates of the kingdom. But the desert monster was so big and scary that many of the soldiers thought they could not defeat him. When the desert monster approached to the kingdom, he caught the soldiers one by one and threw them in the desert.
No! Help! Help!
Seeing this, the people stopped cultivating the land and began to flee to save their lives. the monster continued to eat every sapling, every fresh greenery he saw. While the people did not know what to do out of sadness and fear, the king came out of his palace with all his might. The Earth Princess followed him too.
My princess, my beautiful daughter, stay in the palace with your mother. I don't want him to hurt you.
No, Daddy. You know I can beat him. I can save our kingdom, our land. The king did not want his only daughter, the Earth Princess, to come face to face with the desert monster. So he left her behind, took up his sword, and rushed towards the monster that was eating the fertile land. He tried to stop him, but failed. Just as the desert monster was about to grab the king and throw him into the desert, the Earth Princess could not stand it any longer and drew a shield on the sand. This shield has been magically made real. The Earth Princess protected herself with that shield and ran towards the desert monster. Even though the desert monster threw sand at the princess, he couldn't stop her. The Earth Princess immediately bent down and drew a large bucket in the sand. The bucket was made real. With her magical power, the princess lifted this bucket and threw it at the desert monster. The bucket got on the desert monster's head and got stuck there. Thus, the monster could not see ahead and he could no longer eat the fertile land. At that time, the Earth Princess gathered all her attention and created a desert tornado to drive the monster away from the kingdom. This tornado was so big and strong that it engulfed the monster in an instant and carried him far from the kingdom. The people who watched what was happening were both in great astonishment and happiness. The Earth Princess was exhausted from the magic she used. Father King immediately ran to her and hugged her.
You saved our lives, our land, our kingdom.
From that day on, the Earth Princess protected all the lands of the kingdom with her courage forever. Because without soil, there would be no life, and the Earth Princess knew it best.
One day, Princess Cinderella went out for a walk in the forest to pick some cranberries. After filling her basket with tiny cranberries, she heard a strange sound.
Who's that? And where is that voice coming from?
When Cinderella looked up, she saw a huge elephant flying overhead.
What? A flying elephant? Crazy! How does this happen? Help me! I can't move down!
The elephant had shot up into the sky when her rope broke during a circus performance in the forest. Although her friends tried to help, they could not reach her. Because Cinderella is a princess who has the ability to talk to animals, she immediately called the elephant.
Hey, elephant! I can help you! Cinderella? Oh, please hurry! I'm afraid of heights!
Cinderella whistled loudly and summoned a tiny white pigeon. She asked her to help the elephant with the other pigeons. The little pigeon took flight and went to call her friends. Meanwhile, the sun was so hot in the sky that the elephant was afraid that the balloon she was attached to would melt and fall to the ground. I wish the clouds would block the sun a bit and protect my balloon. I'm so scared. While the elephant was hovering anxiously, a flock of white pigeons approached her. The pigeons flapped their wings and tried to carry the elephant, but she was so big that they barely made a difference. When Cinderella realized that the pigeons could not help, she asked for help from the frog Tiddalik, who was always near the lake, enjoying the water.
Now I am so busy, Cinderella. Oh, delicious water. I love water, you know.
But please, Tiddalik, only you can save her.
When Cinderella told him how to save the elephant, the frog was fascinated by her idea and eventually jumped onto the wings of the white pigeon. The pigeon brought Tiddalik to the elephant.
Don't be afraid. Now you will land softly like a cotton ball.
Like a balloon, Tiddalik filled his mouth and stomach with air and asked the elephant to hold his leg. A few pigeons also supported them. Then the time came for a pigeon to pop the balloon to which the elephant was tied. Are you sure? Will this plan really work?
Yes, don't be afraid, elephant. Trust them.
The moment the pigeon burst the balloon with its beak, the frog Tiddalik started to carry the elephant. Cinderella admired how the animals all worked together like a family. Slowly, with very small breaths, the frog brought the elephant back to the ground safely. The elephant was so happy that she immediately hugged Cinderella. Thank you, Cinderella. If you hadn't noticed me, that balloon would have burst and I would have fallen to the ground.
You're fine now. But you have to thank not only me, but also Tiddalik and the pigeons.
After the elephant kissed the pigeons with her trunk, she gave to the frog Tiddalik his favorite thing.
Water! I was already very thirsty again.